we're going to come to the lower kick panel underneath the steering column. We have to remove the plastic. To do that, you're going to find two 7mm headed bolts. Now once you have both of those out, move along to the hood release latch. Go ahead and pull on that. Underneath that, you're going to find two more 7mm headed bolts. Remove the pair. Now we can carefully grab onto the plastic. I'm going to grab onto this and I'm going to try tugging it away from the lower aspect of the dash. Go ahead and give that a quick inspection and set it aside. Now that we have that off, let's continue on by removing this metal plate. To remove this, you're going to find 5 8mm headed bolts. Let's remove all of them. Set that aside. Now let's move along to this area right here. We're going to start removing the 3 Phillips head screws from this hole here, here, and all the way over on the driver's side. Now I'm going to reach up along the driver's side of the steering column and I'm going to tilt my steering wheel down as far as I can. Now I'll use a trim tool and I'll carefully separate the 2 pieces of the clamshell. Go ahead and grab this. We'll carefully pull it out of here. Just give that a quick inspection, set it aside. Now that we have that upper clamshell out of the way, we don't have to do anything with the lower. We'll leave it exactly where it is. We're going to come right here to this area. This is a locking tab. You just want to go ahead and press it, and then you can carefully lift this up and out of the way. Typically, you can use some sort of screwdriver to press it in. Now we're going to make our way underneath the steering column to this area right here. For this, you're going to find an electrical connector. I'll just gently get in between this area, pry, and separate it. Every time I disconnect an electrical connector, I always take a peek just to make sure there isn't any funny colors. If there is, it's probably corrosion. Now you just want to follow that wire up to its mounting point. You're going to find that there's a black hook there that holds it in place. There's 3 of these total, 1 along the side, which we'll do now, and then 2 up along the top of the steering column. Let's make our way up to the gauge cluster here. To gain access up along this area, we're going to have to remove 3 7mm headed bolts. Do the same to all. Once you have all the screws off of there, we're going to carefully grab onto this dash piece. We're only going to pull it aside far enough to make it so we can gain a little bit more access in this area. Now with this down, we can see where the wire is, and we can find our other 2 mounting points. You saw what to do earlier. You just go ahead and get in between that area and gently slide it out of its mounted position. The first one here, you want to pull the wire to the left. For the other one, you're going to get on it and then pull it to the right. Pop it right out of there. Now we can grab this, we'll pull it up, give it a little spin, and we're going to pay attention right here. For this, you're going to find a mounting clip. Just go ahead and separate that and pull your wire out of there. Now we can go ahead and slide this up. To remove the pin, I'm going to use a small hammer. I'm going to start tapping on the lower part, and it's going to start coming out through the top. After it gets to the point I can't hit it anymore with a hammer, I'll continue on with a punch and fully remove the mounting pin. Now we can grab onto that and give it a little wiggle and remove it from the area. Go ahead and pull the wiring out through the steering column area. We'll remove our bushing. There it is, friends. All right, now it's time to get ready to install our brand new shift lever. Let's set this aside for now, and we're going to continue on with some lubricant. It's a good idea to use a little bit right inside this plunger shaft area. Now let's take our rubber bushing and get ready for installation. You want to have it in this position. Looking at one side, you can tell it's carved out. That's going to be facing towards the driver's side. Slide it right in there. At this point, typically I use a little bit more lubricant right on the shifter lever itself. Now we're going to make sure we have it facing in the proper direction. We want to have it so the writing is going to be facing towards us. We'll go ahead and take this and we're going to carefully slide it in. We want to try to line up the mounting holes. You can see the holes in the shifter tube itself and the lever. Go ahead and bring it right down, line up the holes, and put in your mounting pin. Now when you're putting it in, you're going to find that you have some resistance. Go ahead and give this a couple loving taps here. If it still doesn't seem like it wants to go in, it's possible that the holes aren't lined up. So just go ahead and wiggle the lever around until it seems as though it does want to slide in. Now we can take our protective boot and we'll just go ahead and slide it right on down the shaft here. As we're sliding it down, there's two areas that you want to pay attention to. The first one is this area. It goes right in here. On the other side of this, you're going to find that you have a circular hole, and that actually has to fit over this stud right along the top of the steering column. Let's go ahead and do that now. Line that up. Before I press it all the way down, I'll also line up the top stud that I showed you. Slide that down. Okay. Now we're just going to go ahead and press it down so it locks in. We've got our lock right here. There we are. Go ahead and give that a little wiggle just to make sure it's secured. This feels great. Let's continue on to the wiring. We'll just take this wiring and we're going to slide it all the way in and down. We want it to come down along the bottom driver's side of the steering column. Let's reach down there and find it. Now the next thing you want to do is go ahead and secure this wire so it's not flapping around on top of the steering column. You don't want it to get broken or damaged in any way. Let's try to flex this a little bit. This is going to be easiest to put into position with using a pick. Let's go ahead and slide it into the position here and then carefully press it in without damaging the electrical wiring. There's one. The other one's a little further back and hard to see. Same process. There we are. That looks great. Let's make our way back underneath the steering column, grab that wiring, putting it into the last mounting position here along the driver's side of the steering column. Once again, you of course want to make sure this wire is secure so it doesn't rattle around and get damaged. Now we can go ahead and plug this into its proper place right here. Give that a little click, give it a tug to make sure it's completely secured. Let's carefully press this back into position. Start in all 3 of our 7mm mounting bolts and snug them up. Let's put on the upper clamshell. Once they're all started, snug them up. Let's get this metal protective plate on here. As always, line up all of your bolt holes, start in all of the bolts, and then snug them up. Now we can put on our lower trim panel. Looking at the back side, you're going to find that you have pitons that protrude out from either side of it. Those need to fit into their corresponding holes in the dash. Go ahead and wiggle it around until it feels like it lines up and press it in. Make your way under here and start in both of your mounting bolts on either side. We'll leave those loose and we'll continue on to our hood release. Get this lined up, I'll go ahead and start in both of my mounting bolts. After I have both of these started, we'll snug all 4 of the lower bolts.